5 reasons I love Flatline, and one thing that puzzles me that I'm going to need your help with. This is the best episode of the series so far. I know, I keep saying that. This is the 3rd time, actually. There is so much that is cool and smart and scary and funny about this episode. I hardly know where to begin. Series 8, Episode 9, Flatline. So let me begin by crediting the writer, Jamie Mathieson, who is, for the time being, my favorite Doctor Who writer. He just delivered 2 great back-to-back episodes. The director is Douglas Mackinnon, who's done 3 fine episodes this year. 2 of them are in my top 3. Looking back, Mackinnon has also directed 4 episodes from previous series of Doctor Who. Okay, here we go. My top 5 reasons to love this episode, and a puzzle for you in the extras. Number 5, the incredible shrinking TARDIS. Here's my theory of story ideas. The really great ideas, the exceptionally great ideas, are the ones that nobody ever thought of doing before, but as soon as somebody does think of them, you go, oh, of course! So here we have a 51-year-old running joke about a box that's bigger on the inside for more than half a century. Nobody ever thought to wonder just how small you could make it on the outside and still leave it big on the inside. Nobody did. Nobody in 51 years until now. Oh! The monsters of the week are not only draining energy from the TARDIS, they're also shrinking it, at least the exterior dimensions, which leaves the Doctor trapped inside. Plenty of room for him inside, but he can't squeeze through the incredible shrinking TARDIS door. Side note, this has got to be a huge bonus for the people who make licensed merchandise. Anyone with a model TARDIS sitting on the desk has to be thinking, that's the real one. I have the actual TARDIS. Doctor's in there. There's a practical reason for shrinking the TARDIS and trapping the Doctor inside. That's so Peter Capaldi can have a lighter shooting schedule. They call it a Doctor Light episode. But come on, the tiny TARDIS concept, that is big. That's huge. Number 4, great gag development. A premise, even a great premise, is only going to get you so far if you don't know what to do with it. So the TARDIS is shrinking. Good. And now what? I don't want to spoil the gags. I'm just not going to do that. I will keep quiet on the specifics, but the specifics are delicious. Mathieson's gags just keep coming one after another, and they're excellent. By which I mean they made me laugh out loud. Some reflect back to classic sketch comedy gags that go all the way back to vaudeville, maybe earlier. One bit is lifted from a character created by New Yorker cartoonist Charles Addams. I may already have given away too much. In his blog, Jamie Mathieson says that Stephen Moffat contributed one of the pivotal gags. Read the blog to learn which one. Number 3, scary monsters. Any Doctor Who episode is only as good as the monster is bad. These are some pretty bad monsters, although we never really do get a close look at them because of their nature. What we see of them is kind of glitchy and runny. Runny in the sense that watercolors run, not in the sense that people run. When we do glimpse them, they have that Walking Dead zombie shuffle that's all the rage these days, but it's a little glitchy. They announce themselves in the usual way. People just start mysteriously disappearing. The pre-title incident is a grabber. The title, Flatline, is a pun, as good titles frequently are. Flatlining, a reference to when the hospital scopes that monitor vital signs just stop beeping and go, ooh. Flatline. It's also a reference to the fact that this week's threat comes from creatures who are themselves flat. They live in 2-dimensional space, which isn't space at all, is it? It's a plane. They have suddenly, for reasons we never learned, become interested in 3D space, specifically in us. These monsters are so alien we never find out why. And I think that's another of Mathieson's very smart choices. We never get that manifesto, our planet is dying. We need to come to you to steal your blah 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 in order to live. Nothing. They just show up and start killing people. No motive. And because they're drippy and runny as paint, the Doctor calls them the boneless. Well, maybe we can impugn a motive. Maybe they just think space is cool and they'd like to get into it. Who knows how long they've been cooped up in that 2-dimensional plane? Why are they killing us? Cabin fever. They just want to get out. Flatline is also a reference to the fact that when they kill us, they make us flat too. All that's left of their victims is a 2D representation, wallpaper, murals. The design team and the CG department rise to the challenge of making interdimensional conflict look real, scary, very menacing. Could have easily looked silly, but I don't think it did. This is a premise that could never have been executed before the age of computer graphics. Kudos to the CG team. Number 2, Clara as the Doctor. Now we're getting to the good stuff, the character stuff. With the Doctor trapped inside the TARDIS, it's all up to Clara. She has to step up and play Doctor. Not the way I used to play Doctor with Evie Katz. It's something else. No, she's playing the Doctor, capital D. If you look back at Clara's role in the previous 2 episodes, it's almost as if she's been in training to step up and be the Doctor. First, she had to decide whether to kill the moon. Then she had to get Maisie into the dining car by lying to her. In this episode, she starts out getting lots of coaching from the Doctor through an earbud of sorts, but it's on Clara to appraise the situation, shepherd her fellow humans to safety. Eventually, she's completely on her own to figure a way to recharge the teeny TARDIS. And she steps up. Bravo, Clara. Mary Sue, my eye. That's Dr. Mary Sue to you. And number 1, How to Be the Doctor 101. This is what sealed the deal for me. One of the running themes of Series 8 has been the nature of the Doctor and the ethical trade-offs he makes. Is he a good man? Watching Clara go through all of the steps the Doctor usually takes, first under his expert guidance and coaching, and then completely on her own. It's a perfect syllabus for how the Doctor operates. You find yourself in the midst of a crisis. There's a group of disoriented, frightened people. They're on the verge of panic. They have no idea how much trouble they're in. You assert your leadership, which usually means challenging some yutz who thinks he's in charge. In this case, that yutz is a guy called Fenton, played by Christopher Fairbank. Another great writing choice and terrific casting. Did you see him as the broker in Guardians of the Galaxy? Well, Fenton is supervising, harshly I might add, he's supervising a crew of what Americans call community service workers. The Brits call them community payback. It's court-mandated work in lieu of prison time for people convicted of minor offenses. Side note, it struck me that Fenton is written and cast almost as a caricature of Capaldi's Doctor, but he's even gruffer, even more contemptuous of people, even more smug, bathed in self-satisfied superiority. The Doctor calls people pudding brains, doesn't find them very useful. Fenton calls them community payback scum. Fenton is even more callous than the Doctor about people dying for the cause. He's even immune to psychic paper. Clara as the Doctor uses some really doctory lines on the group. I'm the one chance you've got for staying alive. And some very doctory tactics. Lie to them, give them hope. And some doctory ingenuity to save the day. Clara finds her ally, a graffiti artist called Rigsy, played by Joivan Wade. Probably not a coincidence that the episode is set in Bristol, which is the home of Banksy, world-famous street artist. Banksy is the street artist who did not do the Obama Hope poster. Oddly enough, this week, actual Banksy engineered a publicity stunt involving web reports that he'd been arrested and unmasked. As the episode winds down, it's time for a little exam time in our course of How to Be the Doctor 101. We have a few brief exchanges about the running concern of the series. What is the moral balance of the Doctor's actions? Is he a good man? Now we get to calibrate the Doctor's morality between Clara's and Fenton's. Fenton gives us a parody of what seems to be the Doctor's principle. In a forest fire, you may have to sacrifice the shrubs to save the great trees. Next to Fenton, the Doctor gets to play humanitarian. The Doctor reminds Fenton they aren't trees, they're people. Doctor lavishes praise on Rigsy, says he saved the world, encourages him to keep working. Clara wants some praise too, wants the Doctor to acknowledge she's been a good doctor, and what he answers is this: you were an exceptional doctor, Clara. Goodness had nothing to do with it. We don't get any time to think about that one because we cut to a shot of the mysterious Missy looking at Clara's image on an iPad. She calls her My Clara and says she has chosen well. And then she smiles one of the creepiest smiles since the ending of Sunset Boulevard. Dun dun dun. Until next time, I'm Mickeleh. DVD extras. I've got a few extras for you. First, the puzzle I need your help with. How did the Doctor manage to defeat the Boneless? The Boneless are powerful. They're so powerful that when they're hit by a train, it was the train that lost. First it's a train, boom. Then it's a painting of a train on the wall of a tunnel. They had the power to drain the TARDIS. They had the power to shrink the TARDIS. And then they repowered the TARDIS. And the Doctor just faces them down, declares he is the man that stops the monsters. And he stops the monsters, points the sonic at them, and whoosh, it's all over. How did that work? And is anyone else troubled or puzzled by the fact that in a pinch, the Doctor can use the sonic as a blaster? Help with the puzzle in the comments is appreciated. Second, origins. The Doctor's line, goodness has nothing to do with it. That is borrowed, lifted from Mae West, spoken by her in her very first movie in 1932. She was a very savvy American sex symbol, writer and actor. Began her movie career at 40. Talked a lot of double entendre, parodied being a sex symbol. In her first screen role, a hat check girl remarks, goodness, what beautiful diamonds, Mae West replies. Goodness had nothing to do with it, dearie. Origins. The episode title, Flatline, is just 2 letters away from Flatland, which is the title of a book published in 1884 by a man named Edwin A. Abbott. The A stands for Abbott. Yes, the man's name was Edwin Abbott Abbott. Edwin Abbott Abbott. It's a first-person narrative written and spoken by a character called A Square, who is just that, a square living in two-dimensional space. Now, I'm trying to remember whether it was a math teacher, an English teacher, or a social studies teacher who first told me about Flatland. Could have been any one of them. It's literature. It's a social satire of the rigid hierarchies in Victorian England, and it's a book that'll make you think about geometry and dimensions in new ways. It's a world of no dimensions, Pointland, one dimension, Lineland, two dimensions, Flatland, and three dimensions, Spaceland. Fortunately for us, Abbott's Flatlanders do not attempt any invasion of Spaceland. There have been some films made of Flatland. You can find them on YouTube. And since the book is in public domain, you can download it for free for pretty much any device you have that serves as an e-reader. It's a charming book. Wouldn't hurt you to read it, or a few pages of it. It's free. I might confuse you this time. I'm going to go to 4 options. Hope you can deal with it. Hope I can as well. That's my playlist of Doctor Who reviews. I'm caught up now on Series 8. That's Barry Aldridge and his review of Flatline. Very knowledgeable and perceptive. That's a review by the popular Doctor Who and fantasy reviewer Emergency Awesome. He'll tell you about Easter eggs, like the numbers on the front of the train. Do you know what those are? By the way, that train looked a little cheesy to me. I forgot to mention that. And there, finally, my movies about movies. I'm going to add to that one new one this week. Bye now.